Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Mpenzi mtazamaji, natumai umzima buheri wa afya. Jina langu ni Haifa Muhammad na karibu katika kipindacho pewa asubuhi ndani ya kitengo afya na ustawi. Alhamdulillah, leo tena ni furaha na naamini majumbani mwenu mpo vyema, umeamka vyema, familia pia wako salama, na karibu tena katika upeo wa asubuhi ambao tunazidi kuelimisha mengi kuhusiana na masuala ya afya hapa na pale. Na katika studio zetu za Mahdi TV, mgeni wetu si mwingine bali ni Collins Ooko, ambaye tunakuwa naye akizidi kujuza mengi, kukuarifu mengi wewe mpenzi mtazamaji kuhusiana na masuala ya afya. Na katika awamu yetu ama katika mada yetu ya leo tunataka kuangazia healthy habits every man should start before 30. Sawa, uende ufika miaka 30 kuna magonjwa yanajitokeza vizuri. Sasa before 30, ili kuzuia complication kuweza kutokea baadaye, ama ukifika miaka 40, 50 unakuta ndo magonjwa yanazidi kuwa mengi, ni mambo yepi ambayo mwanamume anafaa kuyafanya, anafaa kuadopt, ama ni tabia zipi ambazo anafaa kuwa nazo before afike miaka 30? Na tukirudi kwake Ooko tutaweza kufahamu mengi zaidi. Karibu sana.
Asante.
Habari ya asubuhi.
Nzuri sana.
Karibu tena.
Asante.
Ni furaha kuwa na wewe, kuona unazidi kuelimisha jamii, hasa wanaume, tukiangazia mada zetu sana tumeongelea wanaume ili waweze kujifahamu. Naam, karibu tena.
Asante. So cha kwanza ni kuwa, if I can summarize what we can do as men before 30, ni kurudia yale ambayo babu zetu walikuwa wanafanya kitambo. Utapata yale ambayo walikuwa wanafanya ni mzuri kwa afya zetu. Na inasaidia kupunguza ama kudhibiti zile magonjwa ambazo zinatusumbua kwa sasa. So in terms of that, we would say before 30, you see, we say the peak of a man is 30. That is for most things the highest you can go physiologically kwa mwili yako ni by the time unafika miaka 30. So kama ni kiwango ya bone, how strong your bones can be, inafika maximum at 30, then from 30 it starts going down. How strong you can be in terms of the muscles without any intervention, without gym and everything, ni 30 years, ikifika 30 it starts going down. So a lot of things start changing by the time you are 30. So before 30 there's so much you can do to prevent deterioration. Ukifika 30 ukiendelea kupanda, not that it will not deteriorate, but it will be slower, because as we age things start going slow and slow and slow, and you start becoming more susceptible to diseases. So cha kwanza, and I think I am now sounding like a mental health proponent, but cha kwanza ni mental. Mental inamaanisha wakati ambapo unakuwa kama mwanaume, na hii inaangazia pia akina dada ambao wanatusaidia kukuza wanaume, that wewe mtoto akiwa mtoto kijana, by the time anafika I think around 14, 15. So by the time anafika around 14, 15, they are supposed to be helped to make good choices in terms of food. The good thing about the male child ni atakula chakula mingi. So you're supposed to provide that food for them. You're supposed to ensure that they make healthy choices in terms of the foods that they are consuming. But different from the food, but still part of the food, is any substance or drug abuse. That most of our young men start abusing their drugs around age 15. So utapata ako shuleni, ako na marafiki zake, wamepewa break kidogo, akienda pale nyuma ya darasa anaanza kuvuta bangi, anaanza kunywa pombe and all that. So you're supposed to sit down with them. We're supposed to follow them through their lives. We're supposed to identify any change in their behavior, because one of the things that can help us to determine that mtoto wangu sasa kuna kitu inafanyika ni behavior yake. Utapata amesnap on you, unamwongelesha anakwambia ndakupiga, na anakupiga. So then you must really get to know what is happening in the life of my child. And that brings us to the point where you can do medical checkups. And part of the checkup can also be urine toxicology, where tunaangalia ni nini iko kwa urine, nini inafanyika kwa mwili yake and all that. So that is one way that we are supposed to ensure that the foods they are eating is healthy. They are eating the right amounts of the food, which is usually okay for most people. Then they are not taking things that they are not supposed to take. That is substance and drugs of abuse. Now the next thing inafaa kuwa, we are supposed to be very active. The good thing about activity inakuanga that when I become active, then my bones become stronger, my muscles become stronger. Na simaanishi activity ile yenye lazima uwe na misuli kubwa kubwa. Na maanisha tu ile activity that I can be able to run for some distance. I can be able to do it on a daily basis.
Healthy wise.
Yes, a healthy distance. So for example, utapata siku hizi akina dada zetu wakilea watoto wanawapatia simu. Shika simu, kuna games za simu, kuna nini wanacheza kwa simu, laptop wanampatia laptop, mtoto amekaa kwa laptop the whole day.
Ndio wengi wanasema hii kitu imekuwa kama problem. Kwa sababu ukiangalia zamani ilikuwa watoto wanaenda nje kusoma, ilikuwa mababu wanatoa story kwa watoto. Asa ina train pia ile akili yake. Sasa the more mtoto anakuwa katika screen, wengine hawapati ile time hata ya kucheza na watoto wenzao. Mzazi apati anaona like huyu akianza kulia anampea simu. Huyu akianza kulia anampea simu.
Actually this it starts from around sema kitu kama age around 6 months when children are still young by the way. So unataka kupata kuna mzazi mwenye mtoto akilia tu kidogo amempea simu. In fact hata kuna mwenye mgeni akiingia kwa nyumba mtoto anaitisha simu ya mgeni sasa. Amechoka na simu ya mzazi. So we have to really change the way we handle our children, because umejua mtoto unapomlea kwa njia fulani, that is what most likely they become wakiwa watu wakubwa. So we are really trying to advocate for reducing the screen time for children by all means. If ni simu, achana na simu. Kama ni TV, uzime TV. Mkae mpige story. And you realize that the brain development of our children and the health of our children is mostly geared towards not being on the screen. So wakati ambapo hako kwa screen, utapata anakuongelesha. Now they learn how to interact socially. Wakati ambapo hako kwa screen, atakuwa anasikiza stories zako. They learn creativity. And they'll be listening to your story. They'll be listening to the progression of how you're giving your stories. They'll copy that from you.
Especially sasa hivi kuna wifi. Throughout. I saw content creation. Naambia the moment wifi imeenda off, that's when mtu ana bond na familia yake. But the moment iko on, kila mtu ashika simu yake anaendelea na maisha yake.
Everybody's in their own life, very different lives. And you see sasa, the lesser the phone, the more the child will try to interact with the environment. They'll start to hold things. Ataanza kushikilia glass anavunja, anaenda pale anapanda pale, anarukaruka, anafanya nini. By the time anafika age 15, age 16, age 17, they can play a game, they can play football, they can ride their bikes, they can do all that. And remember, the more you interact with the environment, the more good you are at that interaction. And research has shown that the more we interact with the environment for a child, the better the brain development. And that is why utapata kuna research juzi ilikuwa inasema that Gen Zs are less intelligent than their parents. And ideally, in science tunasemanga, the child becomes more intelligent than the parent because the child is a hybrid of the parents. So we are seeing that there's also some association between kuwapatia simu and more screen time with the level of intelligence overall to these children going forward. So we want to reduce the screen time for these children. We want them to go out and play. Kama kitambo, ndo sababu wenye nilikuwa naanza nilisema that if we can go back to what we used to do kitambo. Kitambo hakukuwa na TV, hakukuwa na simu, hata simu zilikuwa ni za kufinya tu. Na hiyo simu hauguzi. Na hiyo TV kilikuwa mzazi ilikuwa anakuambia ifika masaa fulani TV zimwe. Hakuna kuangalia. Sasa news ndo inafunguliwa. Ukimaliza news umezima. So if we can go back to that, it will help the children, because by the time you are 30, there's somewhere you come from. And that is what we are trying to deal with. So we are trying to ensure that one, you have good food intake, you have reduced drug and substance abuse, you have more interaction with the environment, and we want to also ensure that we have healthy coping behaviors, because most of our problems come from the coping behaviors that we have. So if I am stressed, what am I going to do? Do I go and demonstrate? Do I go and beat people? Do I go and engage in crime and all that? At the end of the day, all that sums up into your health. That now, this person that we are seeing before us is able to cope. Kama exams imekuwa ngumu shuleni, what will he do? Ata play games and whatever. And also from that perspective, pia, we encourage spirituality. Spirituality in the sense that you might not be a Christian, you might not be a Muslim, but there's something that appeals to you. There's that thing that you can run back to. So that if umefinywa sana and your child cannot help you, your partner cannot help you, your parents cannot help you, you can run to the mosque and pour out your heart to God. So that we have a value system where we do not just think of ourselves as the greatest thing that has happened in our lives. Because if that is the case, then if something comes and destroys that, then we are finished. So we want to ensure that we have good value systems for our children. We want to ensure that by the time anafika 30, that the bone density iko sawa, the muscle density is fine, and healthy behavior in general.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Another thing is, what does a healthy everyday diet look like for young men?
Okay, for young men, one, I would say it's mostly to deal with the types of carbohydrates we are choosing, and that is usually the biggest problem in terms of food intake. Utapata mtu anachukua chakula and is in simple carbohydrates.
Yes.
Energy drinks, soda, chips. So a healthy diet is supposed to be as complex in terms of carbohydrates, as complex as it can get. So badala ya kukula chips, for example, you can decide to carry mihogo. A small pack of mihogo, viazi tamu. It will help. For example, if it's breakfast, uko na mihogo hapo, uko na mandizi hapo, uko na mala hapo, it will help. Then wewe could decide, okay fine, mimi nimeamka ndachukua bread ile ya white, excess sugar. Nimechukua some blue band, excess fat. So instead of blue band, for example, you can switch to avocado. Yes. Or if you can, siagi. If you can, but I know it's expensive.
Yes.
So there are a lot of options that are there for us. So one, you must take complex carbohydrates. That's what I meant by complex carbohydrates. Number two, you can go for vegetables. And I said for the vegetables, they are divided. So for example, kuna green leafy vegetables. These ones will provide the minerals, the vitamins, the fiber, the good fiber. Then kuna vegetables fruits and the vegetables that are high in vitamin A. Now you realize that vitamin A is very good in immunity of our children up to hata ya watu wakubwa, because the more you get diseases when you are young, the more they manifest worse ukikuwa mkubwa. So if you had a brain problem, for example, you had an infection ukiwa mtoto mdogo, as you grow, that part that was infected is supposed to perform a specific function that is even becoming more big and more pronounced ukikuwa mkubwa. Because ukisha kuwa mkubwa, we expect you to outperform what you were ukiwa mdogo. So we try to avoid that by ensuring that you consume foods that are high in vitamin A, and part of those foods are green leafy vegetables that are brightly colored. Can be green, can be red, kama ni zile hoho and all that. So if you consume brightly colored fruits and vegetables, you have good vitamin A intake. So kuna vitamin A foods kama mboga, kama terere, managu, spinach, sukuma wiki. You have the akina hoho, you have the mangoes, you have the oranges. You also have to take food that are high in vitamin C. Vitamin C, the reason why we ask you to take vitamin C is it helps with the formation of skin and immunity ya mtu, both for the young and for the old. And also, importantly, it helps with the absorption of iron. So some research was showing that our women have a problem with iron levels, both pre, during and after conception. So yes, it affects women, but also we are also trying not to make it a problem in men. So you have to take foods that high vitamin C, vitamin A, complex carbohydrates, and you are supposed to ensure that you take enough of essential fatty acids. Inamaanisha vitu kama samaki, kukula chakula yenye kuna samaki. And proteins are very important. So ukikula hizi chakula zote, you're also supposed to add a protein on top. So a protein does not have to be nyama choma, by the way.
Mayai.
Yeah, kuna mayai, kuna njugu.
Which I think most of the people prefer mayai.
Yes.
Unajua at least mayai it's easily accessible.
And it's cheaper.
Nyama it's cheaper.
Yes.
Nyama kitambo ama samaki kitambo mtu afikiria ameenda kutoa 100 na kitu.
Yes.
Anaona hii mayai mbili nikichukua I think it's enough.
Ukikula it's cheaper and it's easier to cook.
Yes. So utakuta especially ukiangalia watu ambao wanafanya gym ama exercises. Most of them wanakula mayai sana. Hata utakuta hiyo protein ambayo intake yao inakuwa more and more.
Yes. Yeah, so we advise watu wakule mayai, for example, for proteins. You can still get proteins from beans. You can still get the proteins from rice also. But there's a way we mix them. By the way, umejua when we decide to mix rice and beans, si ati tuna mix because ni tamu peke yake. We are trying to ensure that the rice plus beans inakupatia as good protein as that which is in an egg. Yes. So we are trying to balance it out. So when you go to a nutritionist or a dietitian, atakupatia that variety, ata explain based on what you consume, because now we also have to hear what you consume. For example, kuna wenye hawakulangi pork. So you can so hauwezi mwambia wewe chukua pork ukule as a protein, which is a protein anyway. So we have to listen to your story, we have to listen to what do you eat, how do you eat what you eat, how do you prepare what you eat. Then tutakwambia now based on this, ensure you have a carbohydrate, ensure you have a protein, ensure you have a vegetable and a fruit, ensure you also consume a good amount of water. Yes. After all that, you have to consume water, because water also helps with the digestion.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And another thing, Kabla tuende break, how much sleep should men in their 20s aim for? And what happens when sleep is constantly ignored?
Sleep is 8 hours, ideally. But that is easier said than done. Anyway, so what I say, you see, you might not be able to get time for 8 hours, but we have breaks once in a while. So say, for example, lunchtime from around 12 to 2, 1 to 2, you have the opportunity to sleep. You can just nap. And you know, when you sleep, most people don't know that sleep is as important as food. It is during sleep that your brain gets time to rest. For those who are in school, it is during sleep that you can consolidate your memory. In fact, when you don't sleep, you will not be able to pass that exam as well as somebody who is sleeping. Because when you are sleeping, brain yako is able to take all that information that you've taken during the day, inaipanga vizuri, and it stores it well. Ikisha store, the next day when you want to think about something, but it is a very long process. Ni tu inafanyikanga tu once. For you to now sit down and remember, jana nilikula 1, 2, 3. Juzi nilikula 1, 2, 3. You realize that if you are very busy na hukulala vizuri, nikikuuliza what you ate last week Saturday, hautakumbuka because hauja consolidate that memory.
Yes.
So sleep is very important to consolidate memory. Sleep is very important also to ensure other functions. But one of the main functions for men, being a man, is sex. So research is showing that when you do not have enough sleep, you'll have erectile dysfunction. Okay. Which is a very big problem for men. In fact, a good number of men today above age 30 are having early onset erectile dysfunction. Erectile dysfunction can occur later in life, which is normal and can be sorted out with a few medications here and there, but it is not set up very early. At 30 years, you are supposed to be at your peak. So your sexual function should be very good. So when you don't sleep enough, you'll not be able to rest enough. When you don't rest enough, you'll not be able to perform enough in terms of sex. So the problem with that inakuanga that sex is a very important aspect of the human life, and mostly for men, because if you are not able to satisfy your partner, then it brings problem both for the partner and for you and your psyche. Yes. So we really encourage men to sleep and sleep enough and have a good and restful sleep. By the way, you might be sleeping na haiko restful. Unalala kidogo, simu imelia. Unalala kidogo, unachukua, unafanya. And so eka kitu ambao haita kudistract. Yes. So your room, mahali pa kulala like this one, you are supposed to not have any TV, any radio. It should be quiet, good lighting. Ukienda kulala unazima light, because there's a hormone that is stimulated by light. That ukizima light inakuwa produced to help you sleep. But when there is light, you will not be able to sleep. And that's why we encourage it to be a very quiet place, very restful place, clean, and you are able to relax and reduce the perception of your senses so that you can relax and sleep. Thank you so much, Collins. Acha tuchukue mapumziko, tutakaporudi tutaendelea zaidi. Kurudi kwako mpenzi mtazamaji, natumai katika awamu ya kwanza tukiwa naye Collins ndani ya studio zetu, alhamdulillah anazidi kujuza mengi. Wewe kama mwanamume, kuna vitu ambavyo unapaswa kufahamu, na kama alivyosema ni vizuri kulala, na watu wengi hamtaki kulala, unaenda movie ama unachukua movie, unasema kwamba kesho ni weekend. Unasema mimi naangalia movie leo mpaka saa 8 usiku. At the end of the day, usingizi haupati vizuri, na kama unavyojua umeambiwa madhara yake inaweza kuletea erectile dysfunction, na hautataka hilo. Inshallah mpenzi mtazamaji, acha tuchukue mapumziko, tutakaporudi tutaendelea zaidi. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Mpenzi mtazamaji, karibu tena katika awamu ya pili ya kipindi kipendacho Pewa Asubuhi ndani ya kitengo Afya na Ustawi. Alhamdulillah tunazidi kuwa naye Collins akizidi kudadavulia mengi kuhusiana na masuala ya afya. Afya ni muhimu zaidi kwa hasa kwa mwanamume, na kama unavyojua tunaangazia mwanamume kwa sababu ni mtu ambaye ana sita sana kwenda kuangalia afya yake. Si kama mwanamke. Mwanamke ni rahisi sana kuangalia afya yake na ni important sana. Sasa ndio maana tukaamua kwa leo tuangazie mada hii ili uweze kufahamu wewe kama mwanamume, ili pia wewe labda ni dada nyumbani unaweza pia muelezea kaka yako kuna vitu ambavyo labda umeona anafanya ni abnormal ama
vinasababisha kwamba afya yake itazorota. Hivyo basi ni jukumu lako kuweza kumwelezea, na tukirudi kwake tuweza kufahamu mengi na mengi zaidi. Karibu tena.
Asante.
Naam. Swali lingine ni kwamba why is avoiding smoking, excessive alcohol and drug use an important health decision before 30?
Before 30. So, okay, let's look at it from this perspective. So, before age 30, actually, say around 25 years and below, the brain of a human brain is not fully developed. So, the development of the brain hits maximum at around age 25. That means that kuna mali tunaita the frontal part of your brain.
Yes.
Hapa mbele. So hapa mbele ndio inakusaidia ku have something tunaita executive function. Ile ya kusema hii pombe iko, I have the mind to buy the alcohol but I will not buy. Na hapa utasema okay, I can decide to have indiscriminate sex but I will not do it because of 1, 2, 3. So the importance of that is this, that if we are not able to stop a young man from having an impulsive behavior. Impulsive ile ya kusema sasa me and my friends wataka kwenda kuchapa bash the whole weekend from Friday usiku, sasa kama ya juzi from Thursday usiku hadi Monday morning.
Yes.
So if we cannot advise you and get you not to do that, inamaanisha by the time you are 30, kama ni liver yako imeshachapa. If ni lungs, vitu zishaanza kuharibika. Kama ni macho imeshaanza kuenda. So a lot of systems start going down because these systems are still at their peak. Now, whatever is at their peak by age 30 is what should take you until age 70, for example. So you can imagine a young man who has taken makali. Amechapa makali for 10 years.
Yes.
Inamaanisha umechoma liver for 10 years. Na mmoja sasa ukishafanya hivyo, at times inafika level lenye the liver cannot regenerate itself. It cannot heal itself. The good thing about our system inakwanga, the body can be able to heal itself, regenerate, inajisaidia, inasema hapa nimeumizwa but I will now make new cells. I will make this, I will do that, I will do that. But before that age, from age 15 to age 30, when you are trying to develop, by the way, development still goes on in the brain. But if you take alcohol, for example, it changes the structure of your brain. If you take the drugs of abuse, it changes the structure of your brain. So you can imagine this brain is developing, but you already changed the structure. By the time you are 30, there are things you can't do. There's a brain, there is a intelligence that you cannot reach. So kama wewe ni ule mtu mwenye alizaliwa na alikuwa anafaa kuwa na intelligence ya say for example 150 to calculate, then you will not know you've reduced your intelligence, because how will you know? You already have spoiled what was supposed to have taken you to 150. You'll stop at 100, for example, which is a disservice to you and to the society, because we prefer to have a society where people are intelligent so that you can have new things, new ideas, new innovations and all that. But when you start consuming alcohol, you start consuming drugs, ina reduce hizo vitu zote. Na vile nilikuwa nimekwambia awali ni the financial implication of that is very heavy. Very heavy. That if you are into drugs, you are into alcohol, you are spending. And hazikwangi cheap, they're expensive. And when you do that, you'll not be able to go for healthcare because that needs money. The money that you had, you've already spent it on drugs. You'll not be able to have a family. And when you have a family, even in a health perspective, it's a support system that is very important to you. Research is showing that those who are in family setups are able to live longer than those who are single. So if you remain single because your life is not in order, no lady would want to come and stay with a man who is a drunkard.
True.
Mwenye hana pesa, mwenye anajikojolea kwa barabara na nguo wa mtaro. So you might end up single. You end up single, you'll not be able even to eat healthy foods, because there's very few men who will sit down and asema nataka kupika githeri. Uchemshe githeri, uitoe the water, ukarange, hautakuwa na hiyo time. Ama kupika nyama and all that. So what will they be doing? Watakuwa wanachukua juice ama soda, unakula na nyama. Watakuwa wanachukua these small foods here and there. So you'll have an unhealthy lifestyle. So by the time you are 30, you've gone through all this. You've been an alcoholic, you've been drunk, you've been a drug addict. You do not have even time to go and even wear a sweater. But then you know, most men hawanuangi sweater. Ni bibi atakuletea sweater kuambia vaa sweater. But if you're alone and you're not able to even think for yourself that I am now feeling cold, I'm supposed to wear a sweater, then your health will deteriorate. Ama if you are feeling unwell and you're alone because you are an addict, then inamaanisha you not be able to have people to tell you na sasa wewe ni mgonjwa, go to hospital. Because even those who are in that situation hawataenda kutembelea mama zao ama baba zao, because they'll start to judge you. Atakwambia siku hizi unakaaje, tafuta mtu, tafuta ile, na hawataki hizo maneno. So we really want to ensure that our population, our young population, do not take this alcohol, do not take these drugs of abuse and substances. But the problem is it is increasing. Yes. So that is why we are really trying, we are out there trying to explain to the young people why these things are not important in your life. You should not touch them, you should not touch them. But if you touch them, please seek help. We are there. We are there for you. There are processes that we can take you through to ensure that you are out of these substances.
Mtu asione haya.
Hapana. We want you to come and get the help, because at the end of the day, hata kama utaona haya, you are still not in a good place. Come, nobody will judge you. By the way, umejua, a good number of people usually come to hospital thinking that if you tell me that niko na hii shida, tukutana hapo nje, I will remember. We don't remember. Tuko na wagonjwa wengi.
Wagonjwa ni wengi.
Tuko na mashida zetu pia sisi. So when I see you there, I will just treat you, do all that treatment. By the way, I'm not even allowed to talk about what I'm doing. Nje ya hospitali, unless you ask me. So if you ask me, daktari, ulikuwa umeniona niko na shida ya pombe, but this is what is happening, what can I do? I will answer. Beyond that, I'm not supposed to talk to you about it. So please, men should come and seek help. We'll give you the help that you require. If I am unable at my level, I will refer you to somebody who is more capable than myself. Yes.
Thank you so much. And swali lingine ni kwamba, how can stress affect both physical and mental health in young men?
Yes, so stress still returns me back to age 15 to 25. Most men have the start of their problems, mental health issues, starts from 15 to 25. So stress comes in the sense that from 15 to 25 years, when you compare, our brains have not developed fully. But if you tell a young man that they will not be happy with you.
Yes.
They'll be very important. Utakwambia how nini mnafanya vitu za kitambo, like the young people sasa what they are doing. So atakwambia vitu za kitambo, nyinyi wazee, amtaki and all that. But the reality is they're not able to make very informed decisions. They can make informed, but not very informed decision. So most of the time they have stress that is brought to them by the society and partly by themselves. By the society is that, say for example, a young man decides to finish a school. Ashamaliza shule, they have to now start to chart their life. 18 years. What do you want to become? What do you want to do in life? But nimekwambia age, brain yao is still developing. So they're still impulsive. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. Zile vitu fancy. But when you tell them something that would work out for them, unaambia, by the way, kuna jobs za plumber huku. Most people are looking for plumbers now, party plumbers. Can you do plumbing? Akiangalia hiyo kazi sijui ni sewage na nini. But sisi kama wazee tunasema it will give you the money that you want anyway. That's what you are looking for.
Sure.
But anasema I want passion and whatever. So there's this thing that the young men would feel that they're not being understood. Now sisi the old will feel ni kama they don't understand us. So there's that fight that starts from around 18 years, because at 18 you want to be independent as a man, and your parents still see you as the small child that they gave birth to. So there's that friction. Then people start to drift apart. So mimi kama mzazi ndasema sasa huyu kijana wangu atakaye kunisikia basi fanya chenye nataka basi. Yeye pia atasema kama mtaki kunisikia mimi ndafanya chenye nataka. So it brings a divide between the society, that one generation is trying to steer the younger generation to the right path, but with less information based on what the younger generation is now experiencing. The younger generation is trying to reinvent the wheel that the older generation had done.
Didn't.
But they don't want to listen to the older generation and tell them that, guys, you can take alcohol, we did it. But our friends who did it for a longer time, this is where they died, they are sick. But sisi hataki kusikia hiyo. So the younger ones will be like, guys, hiyo ilikuwa time yenu, si acha pia to enjoy, tuone kama tutakufa. Yes.
Na mwingine atakwambia kufa tutakufa sote.
Tutakufa sisi wote. So the thing is, we try and bridge that gaps by saying that wewe kama mzazi, kana mtoto wako chini, kijana wako, mwambie, this is what I am. Okay, what do you think first? First, listen to them. Listen to their concerns. What is it that they want to achieve? Akishamaliza, now you come in and tell them, I've heard you want to have fun. Do you know if you take alcohol, this is what your brain looks like when you take alcohol? By the way, kuna scans za how the brain looks like after alcohol. And you trying to impact to them, umwambie, okay, you want to have this lawyer, you want to be a lawyer and all that. Those things are fancy and all that, but it takes a lot of brain power kusurvive that course.
True.
So this is how your brain is supposed to be. So if you take alcohol, this is where you lead yourself to be. If you don't take, you'll have reached here. Ukishakuwa mkubwa, take the alcohol that you want to take. But by the time atakuwa mkubwa, atarealize that alcohol does not help them anyway.
Yes. Because kuna watu wana regret.
Yeah, kuna watu wana regret.
Decision yenye wameweka. Mtu utakuta maisha yake ametumia vibaya, and then inafikia mahali anakuja sana ambia like tumieni maisha yenu vizuri, because mimi nilipofika miaka fulani I know what I experienced.
Yes. So the stress is from the situation where one generation is trying to lead themselves to a specific side. The next generation is trying to lead them by force to a specific side. So then they stress us. Now the worst part inakuanga ni this age. Now the biggest part is that they have peer influence. So friends wangu wanafanya hii, mbona mimi sifanyi?
Yes.
My friends are having sex and they are talking about
peer
it
pressure.
And they are happy.
Yeah.
I want to also experience the same thing. So that peer pressure that my friends wangu wameenda kunywa pombe jana, wakarevu, wakakimbizwa na polisi, wakahepa, hawakushikwa. I want to try that out. So when you start indulging into such things, you will not understand when you are starting it off. It will be high, you are happy and all that. But later, you are now hooked up, you have to look for money, your brain has changed, you have health issues and all that. Kama zile za kujidunga, umeshajipatia magonjwa fani and all that. So the problem is now the stress ya kujieka ni mimi najipeleka kwa hizo drugs. I followed my peers, I've done this, but what is the end effect of that? So by the time unafika 25, now you realize what you said you had done. So now it starts to down on you. But now sahi I'm a drug addict, I have to get money. Masomo yenye nilikuwa nalipiwa sikuweza, nilifukuzwa shule, wazazi wangu wakakasirika, wakachana na mimi. So by the time you are 25 to 30, by the time you are 30 years old sasa, things have gone south, you are stressed up. You cannot rewind time because time has passed. Hata ukirudi shule, people will laugh at you. You are old, why are you here with us? Wewe uko born 1994 for example. Uko wa class na mtu alizaliwa 2007. You know, you are two different people. Utawaambia msipige kelele, watakwambia mbona unatuambia tupige. Wewe ni mzazi wetu. So the stress is there. So we are trying to ensure that we tell the young men that yes, there's this life that you want to do, but can you now look at people who did almost what you are doing? Are they living a better life? So that at the end of the day, by the time unafika 25, you'll have made mistakes. Everybody makes their own mistakes, but it should not be as big as it should change your life. Yes.
No, thank you so much. And how can building healthy habits before 30 reduce the risk of high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease later in life?
Yes. So the good thing about all those diseases, when you have a healthy habit, it will change the trajectory. So the thing is, if we ensure that our young men are active and active in a good way, we are going to ensure that they have good health-seeking behaviors and good healthy behaviors.
Yes.
For example, when they're in school, mtoto akiwa shule, kuna ile form wana feel, wanasema which co-curricular activity can you engage in? Ensure that you follow through, that they engage in that co-curricular activity. Not so much that they can become pros or anything. Hapana. Ndo akirudi nyumbani, arudi kama amechafuka. So we are trying to ensure that all parents know that a child who comes back dirty is not a bad child. Yes. Usikanye mtoto kwa nyumba useme nataka ukue msafi, kaa tu kwa kiti. Hapana. Wacha mtoto aende, acheze kwa matope, anguke, azunguke, akimbizwe, akimbizwe marafiki zake. But when anarudi nyumbani, they are healthy. So the thing is, when you teach a child to be active akiwa mdogo, they pick up that behavior from the formative years into the adulthood. So kama mtoto mmoja anacheza ball, you realize most footballers walianza kucheza wakiwa watoto. Most people who play lawn tennis for example, walianza wakiwa watoto. Kama ni mtu wa kukimbia, alianza akiwa mtoto. It's very difficult to build a habit for an adult because hajazoea hiyo. Yes. So most people stick to what they are used to. So when a child starts early, then it helps them into the adulthood. The good thing about physical activity, you can increase physical activity yako, it ensures that you burn excess fat, excess carbohydrates, and it improves the health of your heart health. So when you improve it, it ensures that one, you don't have excess fat in your body, you don't have type 2 diabetes. You have enough circulation and enough heart health, you don't have hypertension. You don't have the type 2 diabetes, you don't have hypertension, then most likely not have heart diseases. Yes. So they usually come together, they usually marry into each other. So that if mtoto ako active, ako healthy, Also, when you are active and healthy, inamaanisha by the time unafika jioni umechoka, you don't have time to go and take drugs, you don't have time to go and do alcohol, you don't have time to go and party into the night kwa clubs and all that. So you'll have time to yourself, you'll have time for leisure. Utakaa chini, utapiga story, wenye wako na mabibi watacheza na bibi zao na watoto zao na watoto wao. Ama ikifika saa ya kulala, you will sleep better by the way. So when you are healthy, when you have healthy behavior, healthy physical activity, inamaanisha ikifika saa ya kulala utalala. But kama ulikuwa kwa nyumba, umekaa kwa nyumba because unataka kuwa msafi, but unakuwa mtu mkubwa unakanga tu kwa nyumba. Hata saa ya kulala ikifika, utakuwa unakaa ukilala unaangalia tu roof au feel kulala. So the thing is, we want our children to be dirty in a good way. Amecheza football huko nje, amecheza. We want our children to come back tired kwa nyumba. That akikaa kwa nyumba hata ukimpea simu hataki, yeye amechoka. Yeye anataka tu kukula na anataka kula chakula ya kutosha. That's why you come in as a parent, unataka kumpikia a healthy food, a healthy diet. Akisha kula, akilala, amelala for 8 hours. Wewe ndio unaenda kumamsha. Akiamka, goes back and do whatever they're supposed to do during that day. So we are trying to ensure that physical activity marries into all that. And apart from that also, we are supposed to ensure that they go for checkup. Mtoto wako ikipaia, at least umpeleke, hata kama hauna pesa, mpeleke kwa ile line apimwe pressure, apimwe temperature, aambiwe pressure yako iko sawa, temperature iko sawa, blood sugar ni around 100, 200, toa 100, 200. Apimwe blood sugar, aambiwe iko sawa. That's enough.
Okay. Yes. And tukimalizia ni kwamba what advice ungependa kuambia men ambao hawajafika miaka 30?
So advice, kama mwanaume mwenye amefika miaka 30 personally. So I think what we need to understand is, one, we are not, so if I am to talk to them, I will tell them they are not unique.
Okay.
What they are passing through, we passed through.
Okay.
And we are not trying to impress on them things that will harm them. It does not help me to lead a fellow man into the ditch. Because that fellow man ndio atanishikilia mkono baadaye. I don't know who will be my boss. I don't know who will be my son-in-law, for example. So I have to ensure that the society is healthy, because my child has to live within a society, has to have friends. So as men, we must ensure that, number one, if the 3 things are supposed to master is finances, alcohol and women. Finances inamaanisha, what am I going to do with my money? Where do I take my money? If I'm spending all my money on alcohol and drugs, then I'll become very good at those 2 things. But if I spend my money correctly, I do investments, I'll have enough money for health seeking behaviors, I'll have enough money for buying healthy foods. Now, alcohol, if at whatever point you decide to engage into alcohol intake, it will not help you. Number one. Hata ile yati mnakunywa ati ndio tutulie, alcohol haitulizangi chochote. In fact, ukiamka the next day, you'll even be more stressed than the previous day, because you'll have hangovers, you'll have health issues, you'll remember everything that had stressed you before you started drinking the alcohol. So alcohol does not help anywhere and anyone. And to add on to the alcohol, drugs and substance of abuse don't help. Kuvuta bangi si kukua more stronger than the others.
Sure.
Yes. So the young men I see wanavuta bangi kwa estates. Please know that tukienda kwa hospitali tunapata ndugu zenyu wenye walikuwa wanavuta bangi kama nyinyi. And they are in a very bad situation. And it makes me very sad, by the way, when I talk to the young men and I realize that they are younger than me. Now wako at that level in life. And the thing that made them reach there ni vitu zenye they would have prevented. So please, alcohol, drugs and substance of abuse, wachana nazo. They will not help you. But if you really have to do them, ukifika 30 and you still feel convinced that you have to do them, please do them. Yes. Because at that age, you will now have the enough brain power to say, now I will do them, but to this level. Ama ukifanya, now you know why you really are doing them. Number 3, women, simanishi that in a bad way. What I mean is just do not have indiscriminate sex. In fact, there's nothing special about sex outside marriage. It will not help you because one, you'll be doing it in dingy places because you do not have the money to go and look for a good place for most people. Number 2, you'll be doing it with people you don't know, and most people might not tell you that I have niko na STIs, niko na nini, because you not have sex.
Yes.
So you'll be doing them with people who have diseases that some of them are irreversible. So please, there are things that will change your life, kama diseases that you'll get through sex. And then lastly, if you doubt anything, what I usually tell people around me is that please go and talk to your parents. kama kuna mtu ambaye atataka kufanya kitu ambayo itakudhuru ni mzazi wako. So kama mzazi wako atakuadvise ukunywe pombe, kunywa. Kama atakwambia go and take women wengi, do it. Because I know any sane parent will tell you the same things. That please, kijana wangu, just do exactly as I am telling you. Do not take too much alcohol. If you have to, do not go into drugs. Take care of your life so that by the time unafika age 25, age 30, after you are starting your work and you have your own money, at least you have your health with you. Usiku unaanza maisha yako at a negative 60 with your health, because you love the money but you'll not be able to use it.
Thank you so much, Collins, kwa advice yako. Natumai mpenzi mtazamaji atakuwa ameshika. Ni mawaidha mazuri sana kuonyesha ni mtu mwenye ndoto zako ulikuwa unachukulia serious sana. Asante sana.
Asante.
Kurudi kwako mpenzi mtazamaji, natumai katika awamu ya pili tukiwa naye Collins ndani ya studio zetu. Alhamdulillah, amewasilisha vyema, ameweza kuelezea vyema nyinyi kama vijana. Kuna vitu ambavyo vinapaswa kuelewa katika maisha. Maisha ni yako na maisha si ya mtu yoyote. Ima uyajenge ama uyaharibu. Hilo swali tunakuachia wewe. Ufike hapo, sina mengi ya kusema isipokuwa ni kukwambia